Congratulations, Nirupama. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fashion, Popular Culture, and the Political Economy. My name is Asad Lalljee. To quote the iconic Coco Chanel, fashion is not something that exists in dresses only. Fashion is in the sky. Fashion has to do with ideas, the way we live, and what is happening. Nirupama, in the introduction to your book, you mentioned the March 2023 Christian Dior pre-show in Mumbai, which presented the works of Madhu Parekh and Madhvi Parekh from the Chanakya School.
Correct.
And you quote creative director of Dior, Maria Grazia Chiuri, and you write, I wanted to personally celebrate and showcase the incredible knowledge India has to offer to the international world of fashion in the field of embroidery. You use it as a metaphor for India's strong economy globally and evident manifestation of India's impact on the international fashion stage. And as an attendee of that exhibition, I completely concur with you. I have twice had the pleasure of meeting Karishma Swali and moderating sessions with her.
I see.
And last month we did something with a French Cameroonian artist, Batelme Togo. And it was a collaboration, and that collaboration came to fruition at the India Art Fair, and I was there yesterday, and I saw that work.
I see.
So yeah, so it was very interesting to see how fashion and art and creativity and craft have come together, putting India on the international stage.
Absolutely.
Your excellently written and theoretically dense book, Fashion, Popular Culture, and the Political Economy, is a huge canvas covering a wide range of topics, from geopolitical events to philosophical discourses that have shaped the world in the past 123 years. And in the interest of time, we'll be touching upon a few themes from the book, especially looking at the massive impact of liberalization on fashion economy and the postmodern raptures in the Hindi film industry. So my opening question to you, with a PhD in sociology of fashion, you have the unique disposition and the distinction of being the first doctorate on fashion in India, pioneering in fashion research in the country. What got you interested in fashion, in the sociological, cultural, economic causes and consequences in the first place?
I started out as a child who was very interested in writing poetry. And as I began writing poetry, my poetry began getting published in the newspapers in Lucknow, which is where I come from. And so I expected that I would be pursuing a career in English literature. And but as the time came for my BA, my father said that, no, I think it's better that you study political science. And then later on, as I was about to join NIFT, after my BA, my brothers and my father and mother, again, they said that, it's better that you join JNU. So when I joined JNU, when I joined sociology, I saw that, in sociology, we study so many things. We study the structure, the society, the culture, all that. And I saw that fashion was one area which had not been covered at all. Fashion was one area which was seen as extremely flighty. It was not something which was seen as something which was meant for some kind of a serious concern, a serious inquiry, which seemed extremely shocking to me because, after all, fashion is the force which is guiding, gargantuan market economies. And it has been doing that ever since. So I said that this is something which is interesting. And apart from that, also the fact that that was in the 90s, late 90s. And I saw that, the way women were being objectified by fashion, I thought that the dialogue for women's emancipation has to emerge from within fashion itself. And so, which is what I have been working towards for the past 20 years. And the person who actually got me, who accepted my, the spirit in JNU was very free. We were allowed to do whatever research we wanted to do. And the person who actually, I said that to my advisor, Professor K.L. Sharma, that, I want to study fashion. And he's right here.
With us, yeah.
He's right here to see this book come.
So stand up.
So please stand up and, he's right here. He's the person who guided me for my research on fashion, the first time ever.
But what was the
yeah.
genesis of the book? I mean, what was your writing process, your research process? You know, it's a typical question when you do a book launch. How did the book come about? So just take a few minutes to take us through
Yeah.
that.
So when I did my doctorate, for a while I was looking for postdoctoral fellowships in India, which were very few. So when I got a chance to do a postdoctoral research fellowship, I immediately applied for that, and then I came back to JNU for that. And then so my postdoc work was an objectification of women by the media, because I saw that fashion would be speaking one language, but culture, popular culture, which is about films, music, television, and advertising, was speaking a different language. It was not about the liberation of women at all. So I thought that I need to amalgamate the two and create a dialogue for powerful femininity, which is only possible once I do a serious research on both these areas. So that's what I ended up doing, and that's how this book culminated.
So your book examines the period from 1900 to 2023, shedding light on the geopolitical strategies influencing societies, economies, and culture.
Correct.
So from an Indian context, how did the era of liberalization play a pivotal role in the birth and shaping of the fashion industry? And just share some examples that left a lasting imprint on fashion trends and cultural expressions.
Sure. When India liberalized, India's fashion industry began to grow, in a sense that designers like Tarun Tahiliani, you had designers like
We may have met him earlier.
Rajesh Pratap Singh, and a lot of Ritu Kumar who came on, and started their design couture labels and all that. But people were not really consuming fashion. Bollywood was what was guiding all the people to the masses to wear what there was this whole article in the Outlook magazine where they said that couture, Indian couture is dressing up 200 socialites only. That was by the year 2000. So what happened after that was the American capitalist industry, the American, they have this whole thing about the beauty crowns, and something which is so, this whole political economy of capitalism, which is unraveled through this idea of understanding how the beauty crowns bring in people to, consume fashion. So soon after, from the beginning with the millennium, you have Priyanka Chopra, you have before that
Aishwarya.
Sushmita Sen, Aishwarya Rai, and then Priyanka Chopra coming and getting the beauty crowns, and then seeing all that is what made the Indian consciousness kind of revel in the feeling of, oh, here we are, we can be fashionable, we can be consuming things without feeling guilty about being capitalist. So all that changed because of the beauty crown industry. So this is really the way things change in India.
And we have a very fashion-forward audience out here.
Yes.
But anyway, till the turn of the millennium, the realm of fashion found itself under the scrutiny of both a patriarchal society and a feminist perspective. The scrutiny resulted in what you refer to as fashion repression, a phenomena where girls were subjected to restrictive measures. How did fashion become an integral part of our economy, instilling this fashion consciousness in the country, besides the beauty pageants that you've just mentioned?
Okay, yeah. So when I did my research, I did a comparative analysis of two colleges in Delhi. One was my own college, Lady Shram College. The other one was Gargi College. And I saw that there was a huge difference. There was this huge feeling about that, okay, I'm not a fashionable person. I do not identify as a fashionable girl. So there was this thing. So there were two aspects to this. Firstly, the whole idea of feminism itself, that feminists did not identify with being fashionable because fashion was not speaking the language for women's empowerment. So which was a real cliche, that fashion is for women, but it is not speaking the language for women. And apart from that, also the mindset of people being, the patriarchal mindset, where the male patriarch saw that everything that he decided that women should look this way, dress up this way, all that was what was guiding Indian women. But with liberalization, all that began changing.
So in your book, you've said that one of the most influential currents in the 21st century is the search for one's cultural roots, impacting both society and the postmodern politics. With this as a backdrop, how has this quest for cultural identity manifested in the realm of fashion? And how has fashion become a medium for individuals to express and validate their cultural roots?
Fashion is actually the medium which is expressive of everything that societies go through. So from the 1990s onwards, we had the LGBTQ simulacra coloring the runways all across the globe. Which in 2010 we've had, the anti-racism movement, which is, and with this, with the rise of anti-racism, with the rise of inclusivity, what has happened is a voice of the subalternism. The subaltern has come into being as a very powerful force, which is what has determined the coming of postmodernism and also the coming of the cultural identities which are there now. And fashion as articulating cultural identities is really about the coming back of all the things that we were wearing earlier. The clothes and things that, that's the coming of the sari, as, which we had put away only for the occasions of, weddings and festival occasions. Now we are seeing we are seeing the coming back of the sari for everyday occasion, and it's like a celebration.
But you're wearing a sari today. So
Right.
Anyway, you write about the Indian fashion design industry that started in the early 1990s and made its presence felt by the late 90s. Now, you mentioned Rohit and Tarun and Abu and Sandeep were the
Right.
pioneers who
Correct.
started that movement. Now there's several others. They preview on New York Fashion Week before they even think of Lakme or Delhi or whatever
Yes,
goes up.
yes.
But how did the trajectory unfold for Indian designers to become a formidable presence in the global fashion, making a significant strides on the international stage? See, right now, if you're watching the Oscars or whatever, you'll find at least one or two designers who are dressing the red carpet there,
Yes.
right? So what
You-
happened? When did it happen?
So firstly, the 10 years after the millennium, like by 2010, one could see that Indian designers were coloring the rest of West Asia, what we call Middle East. So there's huge amount of cultural affinity which is there between India and the Middle East. The embroideries, the silhouettes, so there's such a huge
They have
amount.
money.
And the designer industry understands that very well. So we have this huge amount of exports happening towards the Middle East, everywhere, all over, from Kuwait to Qatar to Dubai to everywhere. Our designers have become household names. So chodo, they're the only people who are, apart from the Western designers who are, the silhouettes are so different. So Indian designers understand the sensibility of the rest of South Asia. And apart from that, the coming of, when we speak about the international fashion scene, we are seeing Rahul Mishra, we are seeing Gaurav Gupta, we are seeing Vaishali, all of them showcasing their wear at the Paris Fashion Week, which is phenomenal.
But tell me, do you distinguish in your research at all? There's a difference between Indian and the South Asian diaspora, because there are from other countries also that is very has an affinity to that the Middle Eastern market. Do you
Correct.
look at it differently, or is it all?
Just say that again, please.
When you say, the fashion is popular in the UAE and Kuwait and all that, but it's not just Indian, right? It's Pakistani. It's from the whole area.
Absolutely. It's not just like the people who, the NRIs who are wearing Indian clothes. The lehengas and the salwar kameezes and all those things are being worn by the women all across. It's not just the NRIs only.
So, what are the challenges and opportunities that globalization present to the Indian fashion industry?
The opportunities are immense because the Indian fashion industry, the biggest, what we have, the treasure of Indian handlooms that we have, it is still needs to be unraveled by the Western world, which has not been actually been used so much. The carbon footprinting of fashion world is to be, the only way to tackle that is through further alliances with the Indian fashion system, and Indian fashion is just waiting in the wings just to be unfolded and to be seen by the world, because there is so much, there are so many weaves, there are so many embroideries, there are so many fabrics, all handmade, all made by our handloom weavers, which is amazing. India is the only country in the world which has this kind of heritage. Nobody else does.
But why do you think inclusion, I mean, you mentioned sustainability in a way, inclusion, diversity, and sustainability are major drivers of fashion today? Are consumers becoming more conscious in the way what they're buying?
Definitely, consumers are becoming conscious, but Asad, the thing is, not only that, the thing is that fashion itself is making consumers conscious. Fashion world is about making people conscious about whatever is happening in the world. It's about, like, when I spoke about the fact that 90s spoke about the inclusion of LGBTQ. That whole idea was created by the world of fashion. The fact that we're talking about racism today on the ramps, it's been created. The consciousness has been created by the fashion world itself. So fashion world itself is a driver, and which is why we are speaking about inclusivity, diversity, and inclusion. All these things which have become the byword everywhere, not just in fashion, but in every arena of the.
I mean, I just was reading when an actress repeats an outfit, like I think one of those actresses wore her wedding sari for an award show. I couldn't remember who, but it was a big hullabaloo. I mean, and you look at Julia Roberts. She went into a thrift store to buy a jacket for an award show.
Correct.
So the whole upcycle, recycle, vintage is a cool thing to do.
Absolutely.
But let's change little gears a little. The transformative influence in postmodernism and capitalism in film ethos led to an emergence of a new breed of directors between the 90s and the millennium. You refer to the tales relating to the it's not you, but they refer to the tales relating to, they actually don't refer to the tales relating to farmers, wage workers, and a working class is becoming irrelevant, right?
Correct.
So you refer to it as the first postmodern rapture in Bollywood cinema,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So what are the large, drastic impacts of this issue of representation? And can you elaborate on the coming of the item girl and the age difference between romantic leads in Bollywood and the significance it has on fashion?
See, with the coming of liberalization, what happened was the Indian markets were open. The whole we were open to the elements. What happened was the directors had their children, like Karan Johar came onto the scene, Aditya Chopra came onto the scene, Farah Khan came onto the scene, and they were the ones directing films. And these directors were not connected to the middle and the lower classes of India. And therefore what happened was the lower and middle classes of India stopped being represented in cinema. Now, there was one conversation I was having with one of the film directors where she was saying that she wants people to come and watch her cinema again and again. But the fact is that why will educated people go and watch one film again and again? Because they do not look at cinema as something which empowers them symbolically. It is for the rickshawalas, it is for the people who have nothing to live by, it is for the people on the streets who have nothing to live by, that they need a dream to live by that. And for them, cinema is something extremely empowering. But when the hero is only a person who's returned from abroad, who's an NRI who's returned from abroad, who lives in a very wealthy lifestyle, then obviously the masses are not going to be a part of that story. And so India lost the whole idea of representing the masses. Absolutely, with the coming of the millennium, and we are going further ahead with that, and we are losing our grip over all the rural rubrics of India.
I mean, I don't watch Hindi movies, but I kind of understand where you're going with that. But so it's becoming very aspirational, the films versus real.
Of course, absolutely.
Just one sec before I go on. Ma'am, is this 2 minutes, 49 seconds with Q&A or without? Where's she gone? Cousin of Tarun? Oh, okay.
There she Okay.
Wow, aren't you generous? Okay, let's move on to another topic.
But you were talking about the rest of the question.
So, in TV soap operas highlights the aspects such as child marriage,
We
role
will come
of
to
women.
that later. I think I haven't talked about the rest of the question.
Coming of the girl age.
The item, the age gap and all that,
So,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, so the two other things I wanted to touch upon were, firstly, the coming of the item girl. The fact that the whole idea of what the virgin and the vamp was broken, and then you have this embodiment of a seductive beauty who's there like you have a Katrina Kaif or a Kareena Kapoor, and then you have the birth of the item girl happened. All that, it kind of, so from being a Mother Earth, the Meena Kumari and all those heroines to becoming a item girl. The journey for women has been all about, firstly, either being a mother or being a market product. It's not about being a human. So this is something, a luxury which women have never been allowed by popular culture. And I really look forward to the day when this will be allowed, when we will see women as just normal human beings who are celebrated for whatever they aspire to do or whatever they want to do.
So
Thank you.
do you think television has played an important role? You know, like with TV now or OTT. I mean, there's a whole new arena opened out, and you know, is there a shift for bringing highlighting social change that you say that films are not doing right now,
Yes.
or sparking a new wave of feminism by driving, things that are not solely like spearheaded by younger women? Do you think that's happening?
Absolutely, yes. Television has taken the onus of bridging the gap between what the masses want and what the city dwellers want, and also the fact that with this coming of a television channel like Colors, we saw something like Balika Vadhu, which was focusing on the rural areas of India, talking about the ancient things which which city dwellers don't even think that they are even happening at this point. And with that, there was so much more, I think a huge amount of Sony television or Star Plus. And so you have these women-centric programs where women are watching themselves, coming out of so many social issues. All that television has only done. I mean, I'm not seeing cinema as being so transformative to women as television has been. And now we see a serial like Anupama, where you have the protagonist who's a 50-year-old woman who's got children who are grown up, and who's coming out of a bad marriage and finding love again, which seems to be a complete impossibility in most cases, as I see around.
How does that translate to fashion?
Okay.
In what she wears, what she does?
Yes. So what she wears, what she does, it creates a huge amount of a kind of a simulacra that if she can do it, so can other women do it. It's just about acceptance. So fashion is about. So when I speak about the fact that I wanted to be a part of the dialogue where women should define what fashion should be. These are the moments where women are defining what fashion should be speaking about. Fashion should be speaking about powerful femininity. Fashion should be speaking about women, powerful women. It should not be speaking about just new young girls. It's so the biggest challenge with Bollywood has been, as far as I see it, which I do not find anybody talking about, is the fact that you have the 50-year-old Akshay Kumar, Shah Rukh, or Salman, who are romancing 20-year-old girls. I mean, what is the problem if you have a Kajol or Aishwarya or a Preeti Zinta, the women of the same age group being starred opposite these men? I just don't understand what is the problem with that. Women have to speak about the fact that it shows that women's lives are only centered about being 20 to 30, and after that your transcendence stops. It's like your evolution stops. This is what our cinema shows us, and this has to stop. If cinema has to relate to women, this evolution has to stop. This evolution has to begin, and this objectification of women has to stop.
They need us more time to talk about this, so I'm feeling really stressed.
Okay.
But I'm just, no. But someone who's involved in the intersection of fashion, popular culture, political economy, what are the emerging trends and transformation that you anticipate? Now, take that crystal globe of yours out, you have it,
Okay.
in the next 20 years, shaping the landscape? Or is it safe to say, as my new friend Coco Chanel said again, fashion fades, only style remains?
So I feel in the next 20 years, I feel like a politician when I say this, but India is going to become a superpower. And, the fact that I've been speaking so much about geopolitics in my book, and I see that India is going to be able to speak a lot about the fact that we need more dialogue on peace. The fact that India is still out of the UN Security Council, it's a crazy thing. India has to become a part of UN Security Council, and that is the way to be. This is one thing as far as the geopolitical things are concerned. As far as sustainability is concerned, India is going to be the driver for sustainability, because India has all the things which are needed. The Indian textile industry is massive. We've got 4.5 crore people who are involved. This is the second largest sector after agriculture. So you can imagine how phenomenal this is. And then thirdly, the fact that the coming back of the cultural aesthetic, the coming back of all the cultural aesthetics, be it the sari for in all its various forms, and the fact that we have different dances for each state. So the various costumes of each state and the various costumes of countries everywhere are going to make a comeback. So this is what I predict for the world.
Wonderful. I think we're coming to an end of this session, but we may have time for one question. But since we are talking about fashion, I feel like, she should be in a coffee with Karan. We have a rapid fire question before we get to audience. So, what is your favorite fashion book or author? One word, huh? Quickly.
Yeah, my favorite person in the world of fashion is Coco Chanel.
Oh. See, I quoted correctly. Ultimate fashion destination. Quickly.
Oh, Paris only.
Favorite fashion icon of Bollywood?
Meena Kumari.
Oh, wonderful. Paris Fashion Week or Lakme Fashion Week?
Absolutely, Lakme Fashion Week always.
Sustainability or high fashion?
Sorry?
Sustainability or high fashion?
Sustainability always.
Wonderful. We have time for one question. That gentleman has raised his hand very bravely out here, but we'll give it to him. Hey, don't leave here, guys. It's a nice question.
Yeah. So my question is that in earlier times, they used to follow. Yeah. So my question is that before people used to follow film star or movie stars for the fashion or style inspiration, but in last few years there are social media influencers,
Correct.
and they are influencing consumer behavior and consumer decision. So what do you think? Is it just a passing trend or is it going to stay?
The fact that social media has overtaken our lives, influencers and people who influence all the things that we are doing are not going away anywhere. Despite the fact that fashion is always talking about what is the new thing, so we are expecting that influencing is not going to be there anymore, or that the earlier fashion thing, being yes. Sorry. Okay. So fashion influencers and are going to be showing us the way, and this is the new way. So we have to accept that.
It was a great question, but thank you guys for being such a great audience. Our time is up. Too short, but hey, Nirupama is going to be around. You can ask her more questions. I would say she'll be signing a book, but her book is not out yet. You just have to come back again when her book is out, and to Bombay preferably.
Yeah, it'll be published in a few months from New York and London, and New Delhi, of
Okay,
course.
they all come to New York for your release.
That
But thank
is
you
the
for
way
being
it is.
here. Congratulations on the book. I
Thank you.
enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed learning more about your work. And keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you so much to the audiences.